Hello, my name is Brittany Wilson, and today I'm going to be talking about my personal timeline. This testimony is pretty personal to me and kind of emotional for me to talk about, considering the fact that I'm used to growing up in survival mode. Because of this, I don't always tend to look back at how far I've really come. But doing this timeline kind of helped me see the whole areas of my life, not just the trauma I lived through, but the strength, the healing, and the purpose that came afterward. So I want to start at the very beginning because my childhood shaped almost every chapter of my life that followed. For the first 9 years of my life, I lived with a man I believed was my father. I didn't know anything different. He was the only dad that I had ever known. Because he was a drug addict, that reality affected everything, our stability, our safety, and whether we had what we needed from day to day. Most of our money went to drugs, and the atmosphere in our home was unpredictable and frightening. He was extremely abusive, especially towards my mother. I grew up hearing yelling, seeing violence, and watching the person who was supposed to protect us be the one who hurt us the most. As a child, you don't understand addiction or abuse. You just understand fear. And I learned early on how to walk on eggshells and how to disappear into myself when things got dangerous. I also didn't have emotional closeness with my mom. She was physically there, but emotionally far away. Looking back, I see that she was dealing with her own trauma, her own fear, and her own way of surviving. But as a little girl, it left me confused and craving comfort that I never got. The trauma didn't end there. As a very young girl, I was sexually abused by several people I trusted, people who should have protected me, people that loved me, so I thought. When you're that little, you don't understand why someone who is supposed to care about you is hurting you. You learn to freeze, you learn to dissociate, you learn that your body isn't yours, and you learn shame before you even know the word for it. That kind of trauma steals your voice long before you even learn how to speak. It shaped my self-worth for years. It made me believe that people could take from me without giving back to me. It made me vulnerable to manipulation, to unhealthy relationships, to trauma bonds, and to believing I wasn't worth love or safety. That pain followed me well into adulthood. When I was 9 years old, everything changed overnight. My mom suddenly took me and ran off with my biological father, a father I didn't even know existed until that moment. That day shattered everything I believed about who I was. I learned that the man I thought was my dad wasn't, and the real one, I didn't know him at all. We moved away with him quickly, and that moment created a pattern that followed me later in life. When things get bad, you run. You leave. You start somewhere new. You don't talk about it, you just disappear. It became my first model of escape. But life with my biological father wasn't the fresh start I needed. Instead of drugs, he battled alcoholism. So I went from one home ruled by drugs to a home ruled by alcohol. I remember thinking, even as a child, that chaos seemed to follow me wherever I went. Growing up with two addicted father figures and an emotionally absent mother made me internalize the idea that addiction and instability were normal. I didn't like it, but I thought it was what life was supposed to be. And eventually, addiction became my escape too, the same way that it had been theirs. As a teenager, I became a mother at the age of 18. I loved my child with everything in me, but I was still carrying unhealed trauma and survival habits that I didn't understand. I was trying to be a mother while being a hurt child still on the inside. Ooh, excuse me. My adulthood slowly spiraled into addiction, unsafe relationships, and running. The kind of running I had learned as a little girl. I kept finding myself in situations that mirrored my childhood: instability, violence, fear, and using substances to cope. It led me down a road I never imagined I'd be on. A road that included exploitation and eventually sex trafficking. That part of my life broke me in ways that are hard to even describe. It stripped me away from my identity, my voice, and my sense of worth. Oh, sorry. I felt trapped, controlled, and disconnected from myself. During this time, I lost a son to adoption, and I lost my other children for almost 5 years. There's no pain like waking up and realizing your choices mixed with your trauma and addiction cost you the moments, the memories, and the years you can't get back with your own babies. But even in the darkest moments, I always carried a small spark inside me, a whisper that said, "This isn't who you are. This isn't where your story ends." And then came December 28th, 2021, the day I finally got sober. The day I decided I couldn't die this way. The day I chose life, my children's lives, and the future I wanted for all of us. Getting sober wasn't easy. It wasn't pretty, and it wasn't quick. It was a daily, sometimes hourly decision to fight for myself. I had to rebuild everything from scratch: my identity, my faith, my confidence, my mental health, and my relationships. I had to relearn what love was, what boundaries were, what stability felt like. I had to become a mother again, and not the mother addiction made me, but the mother I always wanted to be. One of the most emotional chapters of my life was reuniting with my children, walking back into their lives with humility, honesty, and consistency, rebuilding trust, showing them every single day that I was here and I wasn't going anywhere. Mommy was here to stay. Those reunions weren't just about getting their mom back. They were about me finally becoming the woman I always wanted to be. Then in 2023, I welcomed my daughter Elena into the world. Her birth symbolized healing, restoration, and a brand new beginning. She was born into a version of me that was healthy, sober, grounded, and present. For the first time in my life, I brought a baby into a home filled with stability, love, and safety. She represents redemption, a chapter of my life I never knew I would get to experience. In the midst of rebuilding my life, I made a huge decision. I enrolled in college. Mount SAC became a place of growth and purpose for me. School isn't about just getting a degree. It's about rewriting my story. It's about breaking generational curses. It's about showing my kids that their mother didn't just survive, that she rose. I'm now working towards my AA in social and behavioral science, and I'll be graduating this December. My goal is to go into social work, addiction counseling, or child and family advocacy, because I know what it's like to need someone who truly understands. Another important part of my story is Joshua. When we met, I was healing, but still learning how to trust, still learning what love was supposed to look like, still learning how to let someone love me in and let them in without fear. Joshua became someone in my life with patience and understanding. He never demanded more of me than I could give. He didn't judge my past. He honored it. He saw strength in my story, not shame. We both came from broken places. We both walked through addiction, trauma, and rebuilding. But instead of letting it destroy it, we used it to grow. Joshua is stable. He is loyal. He's gentle in ways I never knew love could be. He speaks with me with respect, something I had never had before. He fathers with intention. He shows up for our children. He protects our peace. He helped me learn what a healthy relationship feels like. Safe, steady, respectful, honest, healing, team-based, and rooted in God. He's been one of my biggest supporters through school, through sobriety, through motherhood, through every milestone. Together, we've created a home that looks nothing like the homes that we had grown up in, and that was one of our greatest accomplishments. Today, when I look at my timeline, I see something so different from what I used to see. I see hope. I see growth. I see purpose. I see a woman who walked from addiction, abuse, exploitation, loss, and trauma, and still found her way back. I'm sober. I'm raising my children. I'm in school. I'm building a career. I'm living in stability and peace. I'm creating a legacy that says your past does not define you. Your choices do. And you can always choose to rise. At the end of the day, everything I do is for my children and family. Ethan, Alyssa, Jaden, Owen, and Elena. Ethan, Alyssa, Jaden, Owen, and Elena. My hope for you is this simple: that you know your worth, that you grow up in love and not fear, that you continue to find stability, safety, and support, that you never feel abandoned ever again and never doubt the plans that God has for your future, that you will know a home that is filled with faith, softness, and strength. I pray that you grow up into adults that will never have to recover from your childhood or your past wounds. Look at your mother's story and believe that God can redeem anything. Love is honest, healthy, and kind. Choose healing over hurting. Most importantly, know that Jesus is not a religion, but is your protector, your guide, father, and friend. He died on the cross for you. My life is my testimony, and my children are the greatest part of it. This project helped me realize that my story isn't just about what I went through. It's about what I became because of it. Thank you for listening.